Good morning, folks. This is Joe McHugh. It is October 22nd, and we're covering the news with Liberty Strikes Back. And today, the president is, we're going to cover a little bit about his comments. He was on the air yesterday for an hour with Hannity talking about the disaster that was the 26th election, apparently referring to the Russia probe, not his own victory. I thought that was pretty clever because it's so completely on point. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a listen to what the president had to say in his own words.
It's perfect. And we're looking at the 2016 election, which was a disaster.
Again, at that point, we are in complete and total agreement. The results of the 2016 election was a disaster, not so much because of the way it happened, but because of the way that the president has behaved ever since then. It's been a disaster.
We went through hell, my administration. People were destroyed, their lives were destroyed.
Now, this is a story we talk about over and over and over again about woe is me, I'm the president, yet I have no power, and everybody's always picking on me. Mr. President, you're 6'3", 215 pounds, and the president of the United States. I'm sorry, no one's buying it. No one's picking on you. Deal with it. Step up and man up. So the question remains then, where is this victim mentality coming from? How is it possible the president of the United States can actually view himself as the victim? I think that if we take a step back and look at how this happened in the first place, we may find our answer.
And on June 16th of last year, I went from being a true insider to perhaps the ultimate outsider ever. I don't know. I think so, right? The American people are my only special interest. That's what I'm doing it for.
It's a good thing that he explained that, because you know what? I'm not sure that many people really understood that what exactly he was doing here. But now that he's explained it, it makes a lot more sense. But just remember that he started off as an outsider, and his objective was to drain the swamp. And when he started off as an outsider, he probably didn't expect to win. And there may be something to that. And that may be the reason why he's behaving in a victim manner. So let's go ahead and take a look at another video here and see if that victim mentality continues.
Many other presidents, there weren't too many really rich presidents, but there were a few, they ran their business. Hey, Obama made a deal for a book. Is that running a business? I'm sure he didn't even discuss it while he was president. He has a deal with Netflix. When did they start talking about that? That's only, a couple of examples. But other presidents, if you look, other presidents were wealthy. Not huge wealth.
Pause it right here, because the president has been known to exaggerate at best, lie at worst. And this is another example of his exaggerations or outright lies. President Obama did not have business dealings while he was in office, as far as the public knows. The two deals that he's referring to both occurred after he was in office, as CNN shows right here.
George Washington was actually considered a very, very rich man at the time. But they ran their businesses. George Washington, they say, had two desks. He had a presidential desk and a business desk.
Now, I don't know where from, but George Washington is the embodiment of the American people and the American Constitution. And, if it weren't for President Washington stepping down after the second term, we wouldn't have a country the way it is today. Because the fact of the matter is, the Congress at the time wanted Washington to run for yet another term. And it was because he stepped down that we have term limits today. Otherwise, we would have had another king in America, because that's what they wanted. They wanted Washington to be the king.
I don't think you people with this phony emoluments laws, and by the way.
Okay, so clause. Now this is a big issue, because President of the United States has one responsibility, and that responsibility is to serve and protect the office of the president and to protect the Constitution. It's not to interpret whether or not a portion of the Constitution that was written by the founding fathers is phony or accurate. It just isn't. The Constitution has survived and protected the American rights for a long time, and the sitting president, it's not his role to say what is and what is not phony about the Constitution. It's his role to support, protect, and defend the Constitution. Now, in case there's any doubt about that, the president did, in fact, take the oath of office, and we will go ahead and take a look at it here.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States
the office of President of the United States
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
The president did actually take the oath of office. And what we have is the actual oath of office. You can see in words what it says. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of the President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Now, nowhere in there does it say that I will preserve, protect, defend, and interpret the Constitution to suit my needs as President of the United States. Now, in case you're wondering what this emoluments clause is about, here we have Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution that says that no title or of nobility shall be granted by the United States, no person holding any office, like the President, of profit or trust under them shall, without consent of the Congress, accept of any present emolument, office, or title of any kind from any king, prince, or foreign state. So in other words, when the president proposes to host foreign summits at the G7 summit at his Doral Resort in Florida, he is making money off of that. Even if he says he's going to do it at cost, he hasn't shown his tax records. So there's no proof that he's doing anything at cost. Okay, so and just so we know, in case there's any confusion about what the word emolument says or what it means the returns arising from office or employment, usually in the form of compensation or perks. So in other words, this clause here, this so-called phony emoluments clause, prohibits the president from making any money other than his salary while executing, supposedly faithfully executing the office of the United States. So understanding that, then that begs the question, how in the world does the President of the United States become a victim? The only thing that makes sense to me is that the president really had no intention whatsoever of ever winning. As a matter of fact, I truly believe, and I think that other people believe this as well, that the president's campaign was a publicity stunt. Now, Howard Stern claims to have inside information. It's probably because he spoke with the president. The president is from New York City. Howard Stern, New York City. Now, the president, again, being from New York City, he's a Democrat. And he spent years courting Democrats as well as Republicans, but he was especially cozy with the Clintons. And so, personally, I believe that what happened here is that the president ran for office in order to help Hillary get elected. He had no idea that he actually was going to win. He didn't think that it was possible. All the polls showed that Hillary was going to run away with this election. And so when he actually won on election day, he thought to himself, oh, shoot, probably not in those words. What am I going to do? I didn't want to do this. All I want to do is make money. I have these businesses. I didn't ask for this. And therefore, I'm not going to disclose my tax returns. I'm not going to comply with the laws. I want to make money, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Everybody's really waiting to find out what's going on, and I think that the president probably agrees on that.
And I assume that the Attorney General, I would like the Attorney General to find out what's going on. Because you know what? We're investigating corruption.
We certainly are investigating corruption. We're also investigating why in the world you, as the president, the most powerful man on the planet, feel like you are the victim.
And it was a very unfair situation. And after 2.5 years or 2 years, they found no collusion, no nothing.
Mr. President, we feel badly for you. Poor baby, Mr. President, poor baby. So the reality is here, America, please, we got to wake up here. Because are we really the victim? Are we really going to allow the leader of the free world to play the role of the victim? Do we really believe that playing the role of the victim is the way to go here? I don't think so. You know, can you imagine for all my fellow service members, for servicemen and women, can you imagine going to war and saying, please don't shoot me, it might hurt? I'm sorry, but playing the role of the victim does not work in war, and it does not work in peace. It does not work in leadership. Playing the role of the victim never works. And when you have a president of the United States who is intent on playing the role of the victim, nothing good can come of it. So really, the only thing that we have to do here, we really need to listen to some of what he's saying. We need to find out what exactly is going on. And the only way to do that is to take a look at what a redacted statement looks like before and after. See, you see here that while the statement is fully redacted, President Trump appears to be faithfully executing the office of the President of the United States. But when you take away the redaction, you realize the truth. And if we don't take action on this, we're going to be stuck with a president who believes this.
Then I have an article too, where I have the right to do whatever I want as president, but I don't even talk about that.
Where he has the right to do whatever he wants. Clearly, the president has never read the Constitution. Clearly. I mean, I don't know what else we need, what further evidence we need. The guy simply hasn't read the Constitution. He is either woefully inept or simply refuses to execute his duties as president of the United States. And for that reason alone, he deserves to be impeached. This is Joe McHugh, October 22nd, with Liberty Strikes Back. We'll come back to you more tomorrow. Thanks.